Imagine struggling in your career life as an adult and wishing to be a carefree teenager again. This desire may seem impossible, but Arata actually gets this opportunity for real. However, things don't go as he expected. Arata Kaizaki is a 27-year-old jobless adult. He fakes having a stable job in front of his friends, while he's still surviving on the money given by his parents. He's returning home after drinking with his friends when his mother calls him. She declares that he should live independently from now on. Arata starts cursing his failed career life when a young man walks towards him out of nowhere. Surprisingly, he knows about all the miseries of Arata and offers him a chance to earn a living. It's Ryuyuk from a company called Real Life Research Laboratory. They will take care of all of Arata's living expenses, and in exchange, he has to take part in a year-long experiment. Ryu gives him a pill that Arata needs to take in order to start the experiment. The next morning, Arata wakes up and realizes that he took the pill while he was drunk last night. The Patum looks 17 once again. Ryu comes to see him and gives the whole details of the contract. Arata has to spend his life as a high school student for 1 year. The laboratory will cover Arata's expenses and he will get a job at the end of the contract. Hearing the word job takes Arata to the 7th sky and he signs the contract in excitement. It's his first day as a third-year high school student. Ryu is also there in the same class. He finds it difficult settling himself into the environment. All students seem to be so enthusiastic and prepared, while Arata even forgets his pencil box and brings a cigarette pack instead. His teacher Kokoro Amatsu calls him to the office and advises him to mend his ways, while Arata is only busy admiring Kokoro for having a stable job unlike him. Later, he also runs into Ryu, who's also an adult like him who took the pill. His job is to look after if the experiment is going smoothly. He tells Arata that the purpose of the experiment is to rehabilitate idle young people. It's better for Arata to start connecting with other classmates and make the experiment successful. The next day, Arata receives his first test results and he fails in all subjects. The teacher tells him to take extra classes till he gets better grades. Luckily, Arata gets his friend group when the class representative Kazuomi Uga offers him free tutoring and another transfer student, an Anoya, who wanted to study with them. While having lunch at the cafeteria, Arata notices the other class representative Chizuru Hashiro having trouble. She has forgotten her money and can't buy lunch. Despite her nature, Arata tries to talk to her and lends her some money. Later, he finds Chizuru again and asks about her rudeness towards him. Chizuru isn't rude but lacks communication skills. She never made a friend before and suffers from loneliness. Though she's a top student unlike Arata, she still wants to become friends with him. Arata accepts the offer gladly and exchanges phone numbers with her. At night, he feels the need to have a cigarette but feels a little reluctant as he's living in his teenage years again. Arata calls Ryu to ask about it and he advises to take it as a chance to give up smoking as he will not be able to buy cigarettes with his new appearance. Moreover, Ryu admires Arata's ability to befriend an introvert like Chizuru but warns him not to get too attached. Once the experiment is over, everyone's memories about him will be erased. If Arata tells this secret to anyone else, his own memories will be forcibly removed too. The Real Life Institute seems shadier than what Arata imagined. After the call, he slides away the cigarettes and chats with Chizuru. He's rehabilitating himself gradually. From the next day, Chizuru tries to become more friendly. She even searches on the internet and returns Arata's money folded in a funny shape. Arata is progressing in friendships, but his grades are not improving at all. Kazuomi scolds him for being so careless. Suddenly, their conversation is interrupted when Chizuru calls Kazuomi by his first name. She's just trying to make more friends, but their classmate Rina Karyu doesn't like it. She assumes that Chizuru is trying to snatch away her friends. Later in the sports class, Arata fails miserably. Though he has the face of a teenager, his adult body needs some workout. He sprains his foot and someone has to carry him to the infirmary. During the sports, Arata also notices Rina. She's a close friend of the volleyball team captain Hanoka, but Rina seems a little cold towards her as she considers Hanoka as her rival in sports. The same goes for Chizuru. Rina competes with her in studies. In contrast, Chizuru believes that she can befriend her soon. She even tries to smile, but her forced smile creeps out Rina and she assumes that Chizuru is mocking her intentionally. Meanwhile, this high school drama, Ryu is taking notes of the changes occurring in Arata. He's becoming more active and paying attention to the people around him. Arata tries to convince Rina that Chizuru's awkward smile is not mocking, but Rina is not convinced. She wanted to become the class representative and spend more time with Kazuomi, but Chizuru surpassed her. And in sports, Hanoka played better and became the captain. This competition triggered a hatred deep down in Rina's heart, while Chizuru and Hanoka are completely unaware of it. Arata asks for Ryu's help to break the ice between Rina and Chizuru, but he refuses. However, Arata is still determined to clear the grudges in Rina's heart. He has learned the importance of school friends and doesn't want other kids to waste this precious stage of life. It's been a month since Arata joined the high school, but his grades haven't improved yet. He even stays late at school to study harder. On the same day, Rina and Hanoka are also spending extra time fulfilling their duties in the sports club. Hanoka's childhood friends come over to pick her up while Rina is left behind getting jealous. She hates being the second best. Moreover, she can't stand Chizuru taking away Kazuomi, whom she treasures so much. While returning the keys to the office, Rina finds Chizuru's bag outside. It's a good chance to cause a little trouble for her, so Rina takes away the bag. Fortunately, she finds Arata on the way, who recognizes the bag and tries to stop her. In this rush, they both fall down the stairs. Chizuru hears the noise and comes over to see. She takes Arata and Rina to the infirmary. When Arata wakes up, he remembers an incident that happened during one of his jobs. He had a hardworking coworker who was bullied by other employees, but she never got mad. She believed that when people can't do better than someone, they start dragging him down instead. Arata is afraid that Rina will also start bullying Chizuru. When she wakes up, he recommends that she should not run away and face herself. Rina believes that her efforts are pointless, but Arata tries to convince her that she's having the wrong thoughts. Her efforts may look useless because she keeps comparing herself to others instead of noticing her individual success. While leaving the school, Arata runs into Chizuru, who seems confused about what she saw. Arata tries to lie at first, but then he remembers that these kids should learn to face reality. Therefore, he tells her everything. After hearing what Rina desires, Chizuru is even willing to give up her class representative pin. She really wants to befriend Rina. She wants to stay back to talk to her, while Arata hides away as he can't leave without seeing the encounter between the two rivals. Meanwhile, Ryu is following him everywhere. When Rina comes over, Chizuru tells everything straight away. Rina feels offended at first, but then she remembers everything Arata said. She tells Chizuru about how she feels too. After talking out, Rina realizes Arata was right. Chizuru never had any intention of mocking her. She just doesn't know how to force a smile. After clarifying everything, they join hands in friendship. But Rina still wants to have a healthy competition as well. They may forget about Arata after a year, but they will remember the useful words he said to them. Arata gets the next week off from school. He's spending it at home like a fed-up adult. Suddenly, he gets a call from Kazuomi. He's coming over along with Anne. Arata's place is filled with things that don't belong to a teenager. He must rush in order to hide them away. After studying for a while, Kazuomi leaves for his part-time job and takes this chance to confess her love to Arata. She says that they met at the place where Arata worked. Meanwhile, Ryu is following all the activity and rushes after hearing An's voice. He's afraid that Arata may take the wrong step. But like a gentleman, Arata pushes away. Ryu reaches there too and reveals the surprising reality, and is also an adult worker at the real-life laboratory. She just wanted to test if Arata will ever cross his line with a high school girl. Both apologize to Arata. However, they are still hiding more of the truth. Before Arata, the laboratory had another subject too. Ryu had gotten personally involved with her, which resulted in unfavorable circumstances. Ryu had to break emotional bonds and advised the subject to deal with the problems herself. Meanwhile, he was also observing Arata to check his capability for the experiment. Though Ryu had distanced himself from the first subject, but no improvements were shown. The experiment failed miserably, and all blame was put on Ryu. That's why Ryu doesn't want to fail again. He has high hopes for Arata as he's a careful observant and readily helps others. Unfortunately, the unstable career life snatched away his confidence. The real-life experiment aims to help Arata build up his self-confidence once again. Ryu is curious how Arata's real life will change him, and he's eagerly looking forward to it. Meanwhile, Arata fails in the midterm exams as well. On the bright side, he doesn't make excuses as he used to at work. He has learned to accept his shortcomings and work harder for better results. Besides him, Hanoka failed in major subjects too. Though she excels in sports, her grades aren't good. The only reason she didn't join a sports school is because she wanted to study with her childhood friends Akira and Nabu. Moreover, she found Rina as a volleyball partner, which made playing more fun. After school, Hanoka hears some juniors speaking ill of her. They believe that she doesn't deserve to be in school because of her grades. Hanoka gets disappointed, but then she sees Rina scolding the juniors. Hanoka gets touched by the care Rina showed for her. After the makeup classes, Hanoka passes the retest and heads to practice. However, she hasn't gotten enough time to rest and feels weak. In this state, she drops down the ball and Rina trips over it. The accident sprained her ankle, and she can't take part in the upcoming tournament. Hanoka feels sorry and blames herself. In response, Rina gets mad and believes that she isn't an important part of the sports team anyway. Till Hanoka is there, the school will definitely win. No one else matters. These harsh words pierced Hanoka's heart. She rushes away and cries out her heart. The next day, she tries to avoid Rina. However, her eyes clearly showed how much she cried. On the other hand, Rina is disappointed with her behavior too. She resigns from the sports team as she doesn't want to draw down the team due to her injury. But she's still trying to act strong like always. Kazuomi tries to console her, but she doesn't tell him anything either. Rina has started to hate herself. She believes that no one will ever like a rude and self-centered girl like her. Chizuru notices the situation and goes to Arata's to discuss it with him. She believes that jumping into the argument will ruin it further. Arata feels the same as he once had a senior who was bullied by other coworkers. When he tried to get in between, the bullying became more intense. Chizuru had gone through a similar situation, but now she believes that one should stand longer against cruelty. Therefore, she wants to try her best this time. Arata joins her plan and they go to talk to Hanoka. Meanwhile, Akira drags Rina there too as he wants her to know what Hanoka feels. Hanoka has always been good at sports, but her talent backfired. The people around her started getting jealous and Hanoka was left alone. Therefore, she decided to join a high school where no one knows her. As she still loved sports, she joined the volleyball team but never gave in her best. Rina asked Hanoka to play at her full strength and compete with her. Since then, Hanoka always looked forward to playing in the tournament with Rina. After hearing this story, Chizuru advises Hanoka to convince Rina. Once you stop talking to others, you lose the ability to be friendly. Rina heard everything but she still refuses to play, but Hanoka believes that Rina will get back soon. The tournament holds after 2 weeks but Rina doesn't appear. Arata and Chizuru go to her place and see Rina dressed in the uniform, but she can't make herself join the competition. Chizuru hits her head and tells Rina to stop being stubborn. Arata also believes that the shield Rina has built around herself is hurting others too. They drag her to the tournament and she happily plays with her friends. Sadly, the match ends in failure. Though Rina has lost the match, she has won something more precious: friendship. A few days pass by peacefully. Arata requests Ryu to change his appearance back to normal for a while. He wants to visit the grave of his senior ex-worker Sakai. Ryu agrees but tags along. Arata was under Sakai's training for his first job. She was a great worker, but other employees were jealous of her. They started bullying Sakai, but she kept silent. She asked Arata to do the same, but he couldn't stand the gossip and scolded the employees. The bullying increased and Sakai couldn't bear it anymore, to the point she committed suicide. People behaved like it wasn't a big deal, which increased Arata's anger even more. He refused to become insensitive like others and resigned from the job, which led to him never getting another stable job. While returning from the tomb, Arata meets 2 new employees from the same company. Surprisingly, they admired Arata for standing against the cruel working environment and consider him a role model. This boosted Arata's self-confidence and he finally realized he was never wrong. Actually, he should have opposed it more. This meeting wasn't a coincidence. Ryu planned it, but what the employees said was their real feelings. Finally, the weight on Arata's heart is lifted away. The first term of high school has already passed. Ryu and gather at Arata's place to celebrate the achievement. Now Arata's next goal is to help Kazuomi realize his feelings toward Rina. Unfortunately, the top student is actually really dumb when it comes to love. Arata tries his best to help Kazuomi understand that love is a wonder of youth. He may not get to experience it every day. While returning home, Arata and Kazuomi notices Rina talking to another man. Kazuomi mistakes their relationship, but that man is actually just a stranger. He was helping Rina as she wasn't feeling well. However, jealousy triggers feelings in Kazuomi's heart. He walks Rina home and on the way he realizes that he's already in love. The next day he gathers with their other friends to get some advice. As Arata suggests, Kazuomi decides to confess to Rina at the firework festival. After a few days, everyone dresses up and joins the festival. Ryu seems concerned towards Chizuru, but it's making Arata feel jealous. But he can't admit his feelings for a high school student. Rina and Kazuomi get separated from their friends and Kazuomi takes this chance to confess his love. They both get embarrassed at first and accept each other's feelings. Meanwhile, Arata is left alone with Chizuru and watch the fireworks together. Arata believes that he's also like fireworks who shine bright at first and then fade away. It's useless to get emotionally attached to anyone. On the other side, Chizuru is thinking about all the time she has spent with her friends. She never thought of being surrounded by so many caring people. It's all thanks to Arata and she is glad she met him. But in reality, Chizuru isn't a teenager either. She's the first subject of the real-life laboratory. That's why she didn't make friends, as they will forget her eventually. After the festival, Arata walks Chizuru home. On her way, she tells Arata that it used to feel pointless to fall in love when you are supposed to separate in the future. But now she thinks that one shouldn't worry about the future and enjoy the present. Her words trigger the feelings Arata is trying to hide in his heart. He can't lose his self-control and stands up. Chizuru does the same but trips herself and falls in Arata's hands. She can clearly hear his heart beating so fast. They both think that they will forget each other, so they want to treasure the memories they made with each other. Little do they know about what fate has stored for them. Ryu is happy to see the progress and also wishes Arata to end up with Chizuru one day. Meanwhile, the year hasn't ended yet, so Arata wants to live his real life to the fullest.